प्रशांत, आप वो प्रेजेंटेशन तब तक स्क्रीन पे ये कर सकते हो क्या? हम वो सेटअप कर लेते हैं.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Wait. Hope it is visible now, Anushka.
या सो इसको फुल स्क्रीन पे कर ले क्या? क्योंकि अभी वो पूरा प्रेजेंटेशन दिख रहा है. सो स्लाइड शो
Full screen itself, लेकिन ये in my screen it is full.
इसको स्लाइड शो वाला ऊपर स्लाइड शो पे आप क्लिक कर लो.
स्लाइड शो पे मेरे में तो मैंने स्लाइड शो पे क्लिक किया हुआ है.
अच्छा.
Okay. Anushka, can you share on your screen? Will it be possible? I think on my screen it is full screen.
अच्छा. ओके.
तो वैसे दिख नहीं रहा है. I can see it on like my other camera, but
हाँ.
it is not visible in that way. But I have done it full screen.
नहीं नहीं नहीं, मेरा मतलब ये है कि जो स्लाइड शो है ना, स्लाइड शो वाला चीज स्टार्ट कर देना एक बार. अगर आप स्लाइड शो वाला सेट स्टार्ट कर दोगे ना तो ये हो जाएगा.
Like I started that slideshow thing. I'm telling you that, but
अच्छा. ओके ठीक है प्रशांत. सो आई थिंक सो या नाउ इट्स गुड.
Okay, okay.
Hi, Ishika. We'll be starting soon by 12 o'clock. So I hope you can wait till then. And if there is anything, you can directly add it in the comments chat box. So the mentor will help you out through that.
Great. Thanks for joining, Ishika. Anushka, just one more thing. Is my voice being echoed or something of that sort? Because I've joined it from two places.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
I think Bhuvanesh has joined again.
Yeah.
Hello, Bhuvanesh. Hi, once again. Hey, Ishika.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. So, Ishika, from where are you joining currently? Where are you based over?
I am from Mumbai.
Awesome, awesome. And if I may ask you your high level objective of attending, and where are you proceeding towards, more towards interview preparation or more towards development? So if you
So
can,
right now I am in third year of my BSc IT, and
okay.
I am interested in data analytics and business analytics side fields. That's why I wanted to gain information and want to make my career in this field.
Awesome, awesome. We'll be answering all those questions here, Ishika.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're at the right place. So we have a couple of more folks joining. We have VRU. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but hi. Hello, Bru. And we also have Bhuvanesh. Hello, Bhuvanesh. Hi. Bhuvnesh, if you also can share your little bit background about what are your high level objectives in like you had in mind before joining this session, so that it will help me to channelize my explanation in those directions, and collectively we can seek more value. So if you can just tell me, just like Ishika mentioned, you can just tell me about it, then it will be helpful.
I think so. Their mic is off.
Okay,
ठीक है, we can wait for everyone to join.
sure,
फिर we can start the session.
sure, Anushka. Thank
Yeah.
you. So, Anushka, if they have any questions in between the session, then
They can directly add it in the comment chat box, and
okay,
if required, they can directly ask it through voice. हम लोग voice भी enable कर सकते हैं.
okay, awesome, बहुत बढ़िया, ठीक है. Because many a times commenting the question might not give you that true flavor of what the person is trying to ask. So sometimes it is better to voice it over. Yeah. We have a couple of more folks joining. Thank you, Veera, Dinesh. Thank you, Sanidhya. Thanks for joining on Sunday. Hi, Nitesh. Thank you for joining. Your mics might have been disabled. People who have joined it to attend, your mics might have been disabled. So once you join, you can just say hi, hello in chat so that we get to know each other. And yeah, definitely looking forward to know high level objectives from everybody as we follow through the session. We'll be starting in a couple of more minutes. So let us wait. I see that there are new folks who are joining. Hi, Zishan. Hi. Hello, Ashish. Hello, Arzu. Thanks for joining. Hi, Vidya. Hello, Vicky. Anushka, replace team. I think there are joining. So let us may wait for a minute or two to go.
Yeah, we can start in 1 or 2 minutes.
Sorry, can you
We,
come again?
we can start after a minute.
Okay, got it, Anushka. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. I do understand that sometimes it is little difficult to take out some time on Sunday. So really appreciate your effort. My pleasure, Ishika. Okay. I think we have a sufficient quorum to start. So are we good to go? Uh, we have a lot of folks. Okay. Okay, everyone. Thank you everyone for joining, and we see that a lot of folks have joined. People might have their own set of objectives and set of questions by considering which they have you guys have joined this particular session, and I'll be trying to answer all of your questions by sharing up my journey. So most of the things which you will be seeing today on the slide pack and in the surprise giveaway will be predominantly based from my experience, and I've interacted with a lot of folks, a lot of people to understand how they go through the job searching process, and what do they look in interview, or what do they consider a BA candidate, what do they consider when they are interviewing a BA candidate. So everything is purely based on my experience, plus some of the other uh, content which I've read online and from LinkedIn influencers as well. So there are a lot of folks online who write about these processes, and yeah. So let me quickly give you a brief glimpse of what are we trying to cover today, and then I'll be introducing myself. So yeah, so we'll be again I'll be introducing myself in the next section. So we'll be also understanding who is a business analyst, typically who is a business analyst as per industry norms, and what do industry calls. So BA is a very generic term which is used, and many a times there are different terminologies which are used to consider a person as a business analyst. So we'll be just simplifying that for our perspective. What are the skills needed to be a successful business analyst, and how can you develop them? So what are things? What are simple points which I have considered while developing my skill sets into my journey of from last 5 years? I'll be sharing that in just slides, so you'll get a brief picture of. I also see that there are quite a number of freshers who have joined who might not know what are the skill sets which are needed. I think that there are experienced folks also who might be aware. So we'll be covering upon the skill sets as well, and what an interviewer expects. Where do majority of the people fail? Now, this pointer is based on my experience of taking up more than 50 interviews. So all that information I have just squeezed in one or two slides, so that people like you who have joined today don't commit that specific mistake. And then subsequently we'll share an assignment with all of you, which I'll be reviewing it personally, so that you get a fair understanding of what everything is all about. Because everything is end of the day talking and giving knowledge, etc., but you might forget it. So we'll share an assignment also with you, which I'll be definitely reviewing it personally. And then end of the document, end of the presentation, we'll have a surprise special giveaway, a roadmap document, which I think many of you wanted to develop skill sets, and how to applying jobs, and then subsequently move ahead in that direction. So I have gone through. So just to give you a glimpse of what is there at the end of the workshop, is I've gone through 200 plus job descriptions, which you will find on LinkedIn, and to understand few things for you. Because while preparing your resume, you get questions like, if I want to prepare for this role, let's say, and what are the key terms I should use in my experience section so that my resume will be getting shortlisted. So we don't have that picture in mind of what keywords to be used based on, based on some sort of an analysis of existing job descriptions. So I have personally gone through 200 plus job descriptions to understand few things for you. What are the key terms which you need to mention in your resume? Versus many of you have questions like, if I want to learn a software, what is that particular software which I need to learn? Where that software will come into picture? So which are those tools and platforms? And predominantly, what are the certifications which normally business analysts are expected to be doing? So these certifications I found in majority of the job descriptions are mentioned as not mandatory, but definitely if you are, let's say, an experienced and if you want to pursue them, go so you can validate that thought from this data as well. So we'll be covering up this section particularly in the end of the session, and also have documented the phases where you might face a lot of challenges. For example, and let us admit the fact that not most of us are very active on LinkedIn, building up network connections and writing to build our online presence. So I have documented the challenges which you might face in all those phases, and then it will be acting as a roadmap for you to move ahead. So all these things we have planned up at the end of the session, and we'll be covering up interview techniques and the skill development part predominantly while I speak through it. So before we start the session, let me quickly introduce myself. Who am I, and why you should listen to me, perhaps. So that is one of the major things which you should definitely have in mind, and before we move ahead. So a brief background of, I started my engineering in 2012 and completed in 2016. I'm a computer engineering graduate from Mumbai University. And then I joined Zorient Private Solutions as a software engineer and a business analyst. So there I had my first corporate experience of how a BA role actually operates. And that is where I understood what is actually, so business analysis, what is actually, and how it is different from IT coding role and I understood that only IT oriented people can go into business analyst is a myth. Definitely, I understood that specific myth, which I'll be covering up in the next section. And then after gaining that 2 years of experience as a software engineer and analyst, I wanted to move more towards management side of things, and then I decided to pursue my MBA. So I'm a MBA in operations management from Symbiosis University. And while studying with Symbiosis, I found like a good opportunity to work with General Electric as a business analyst and a process improvement intern. So that's where I learned stuffs like Six Sigma, Lean, and so there are a couple of terms which might be very unknown to a lot of folks, but we'll be simplifying it as we move ahead. And then after my management studies, I got placed in a product company called VMware as a business analyst. So I just moved towards my dream role as a business analyst from after I post graduated. So that's where I restarted my journey as a business analyst, got promoted in just 1 year to a second level business analyst when I was working with VMware. And then after working for 2 years with VMware, I'm currently associated with LTI Mindtree, a company which falls in top five service sectors in India. So I'm working there as a senior process consultant. You can call me as a process consulting lead, where I'm predominantly responsible to lead and drive projects for multiple customers across the globe. So and this is what I have as my experience now. It is just not about me. I would definitely like to know more about the people who have joined the call. So I know that I had like a talk with Ishika because she had joined before. So let's know more about you as well. So I would like to know more about your name, your work experience. No problem that if you are a fresher, just mention that I'm a fresher. And one thing which I would definitely like to understand is what is your purpose of attending today's session? Whether it is more of an interview preparation and then you're getting interview calls and you are stuck in that phase, or let's say you are a fresher and you want to develop some skill set, if you move into that direction subsequently. So I have mentioned two samples. If I want to answer this question, I'll just mention my name, mention my experience, and join the session for interview preparation. So would love to see your comments there, and looking forward to your comments. And then I'm open to any questions. Pre-place team, if you feel like people are having a lot of questions, then we can subsequently unmute their mics and then discuss those things. Can we get along comments, get along these inputs in the comments team? It will help me in focusing more towards where the maximum audience is, from what objective you are coming, and hence it will be useful for everybody. Okay, Nagarjun, thank you. Got it. Okay, I'm getting a lot of messages. Okay. Okay. Most of the people here are for job cracking knowledge. Okay. Got it. Okay, resume preparation. Okay. We have Tanveer who has joined for skill development. Got it. Okay. We have technical folks also who want to move to BA centric role. Awesome. Okay. Okay, got it. Resume preparation. Okay, we'll be covering up that section in the document. So if you have joined for resume preparation, then specifically the screen which I was pointing out, like what are the key terms which you need to include in your resume will be definitely helpful. So we are on track for this. Interview shortlisting, awesome. I've covered that point into the roadmap document. So yeah, banking and finance. Arshi has joined. Arshi has 7 years of experience in banking and finance and want to change the domain. Awesome. There is a lot of demand for domain centric folks in business analyst towards business analyst side. So definitely awesome. Okay, I'll tell you the difference between data analyst and business analyst role as well. So as I told, there are okay. Let me answer that question when we proceed to that slide. Rutika has joined, has 3 years of work experience as a consultant in education domain. Currently looking for a career in BA, non-tech to BA. Awesome, you're at the right place, Rutika. Done PG, okay. Okay, you have completed your PG BA from Purdue University. Currently looking for interview prep. Awesome. So also that I see that there are a lot of experienced folks who have also joined. So whenever you get a chance to, if your mics are unmute and you get a chance to add something in the comment section or verbally, I'm open to those additions, corrections as well, because let us admit that we are all humans and we can make mistakes. I can have my own experience versus you can have your own experience. So definitely we can share our knowledge and collectively our objective is to grow as a community of a business analyst and also contribute on our objectives. Okay, I see that there are a lot of comments which are who and majority of them are focused towards skill set which is required for landing in business analyst roles, interview prep, and a couple of them want to switch their domains from tech to non-tech. Okay, got it. Let us move ahead. So I have got a gist of what people are actually looking, what you folks are actually looking, and definitely that has helped me to understand more about people who have joined the call. So thanks a ton for your quick support, and looking forward to your eager participation in subsequent slides as well. So first of all, who is a business analyst? So this question will answer your majority. This particular definition itself will answer majority of your questions. If you are looking to switch from multiple domain, one second, team. Yeah, thank you. So if you are looking to switch from your domain and where you need to focus, so this is such a powerful definition which I have written it from my experience and combining the experience from a business analyst guide called BABOK. And couple of you who might have done the certification might be aware of this guide as such. But if you are not aware, no problem at all. So we'll be covering up majority of the things in very brief format today. So business analyst is typically a person who is discovering and analyzing information from multiple sources. Now, multiple sources may mean that you might have to extract that information from multiple systems, or you might have to extract that information from multiple people, which is where you might have seen that a lot of business analyst role predominantly revolve around requirement gathering. So and there you see that a lot of back and forth communication happens in picture. You want to understand where the problem is actually lying, and then you need to talk about what are the major challenges which they are facing, and then recommend solutions or support in developing the solution. So developing the solutions for a business problem. So if I just simplify this for you, so there are two specific scenarios where business analysts are typically involved. Is, let's say that I want to develop a product and I have a development team with me, and there is a customer who doesn't understand the technical knowledge, or who's less technically oriented, but has a clear picture of the problem which he or she faces. So business analyst predominantly acts as a mediator between both the parties, so that the person is understanding the business problem and a bit of technical nuances. Now, I'm using my words very carefully here, a bit of technical nuances. He shouldn't be, or rather, not necessarily to be a coder there, or a person who is technically very smart to write all the Python and Java R related queries. So not necessarily a business analyst should be doing that. So and majority of the times it is also happening that business analyst itself is responsible to develop the solution. So business analyst acts as a consultant with the customer, and then the customer says like communicates the problem to the business analyst. Business analyst will understand what the customer is trying to intend, and then subsequently use a lot of platforms like let's say some process improvement platform or some uh, any sort of a platform, let's say data visualization platform or something of that sort to solve the customer problem. So not necessarily every time you might have a team to develop the solution. Majority of the times also I've seen is business analysts are expected to like work as an individual contributor and not really as a in the team. So discovery and analysis of information. So discovery predominantly revolves around asking multiple questions to the stakeholders and understanding the problem. Analyzing the information is when customer will give the problem to you. You will structure that problem in a specific format so that your team or you yourself will understand the whole scenario, and then directly move ahead with recommending the solution. So after the definition, I would like to know more from you in the chat if you have any queries in understanding specific terminology, specifically the orange section of the words which are highlighted in orange. If you have any queries, you can shoot up in the chat section. Or we'll go towards next question. Does the role? No. Role doesn't end at. So there is a very interesting question. Role doesn't end at requirement gathering. Okay. So for you, it will be more like, so I'll be covering up both the scenarios when we move ahead. So that question will be specific. Yeah. Would be helpful to share this with an example. Okay. Let me directly go to that example. Yeah. So consider these two different scenarios. Okay. One in scenario one, we have customer on one hand, and you have a business analyst in between, and then you have a development team. So business analyst in case number one will be acting as a middleman or a mediator. Okay, got it. So let me answer. Yeah. Thank you for that question. So if you have a customer and you have a development team. If the customer is wanting to develop complete like a platform or a complete software has to be developed to solve that business problem, business analyst will understand the requirement. So that is one part of it, just one part of it, and then communicate that requirement to the team. So I'm just covering up the BA centric role at a uber high level. So it is not like specifically what they do. So they understand the requirement, communicate in a simple manner to the development team, and then development team will deliver the solution for the customer, which business analyst and the development team will be presenting it to customer on a combined basis. So that is just the scenario number one. So role doesn't end at requirement gathering. It is more like how you communicate understand the story from the customer, communicate that story to your development team, and then you deliver that solution. So it may be like you want to develop let's say that application like a fintech application for let's say we had someone who's from banking domain. Currently I don't recall the name. So let's say that a customer wants to develop an application like, for example, a replica of Paytm. So a customer might be giving that scenarios like, I want to develop that application which helps people to conduct UPI transactions or let's say get cashbacks or book different movie tickets or different types of tickets. So these are individual features where these will be communicated to business analyst, and these features will be again communicated to the development team. So development team and business analyst will be acting as a business analyst and a domain expert here. Then a domain expert coming predominantly from the banking experience, where the BA will tell whether this solution is useful for the customer or not by giving his or her insights as well. So more like understanding it, what the customer really wants. And then if it is a solution which has to be developed completely like a platform of Paytm with different features in between, so you will have different phases of different phases like agile model or waterfall model to really develop that solution, and then a combined application will be developed. So I think I answered that question of not really the requirement understanding and then the BA will escape the project. So not real. That is not really the case every time. And next case would be in which a BA acts as a consultant for the customer and develops the solution. So there is customer who will tell the requirement that I want this XYZ as to solve my problem. Then BA will work as so if I tell you my role, so my role predominantly comes in scenario number 2, where I act as a business analyst and a consultant for my customer to understand their requirement, and then I deliver the solution. So where if I tell you just an example, for example, let's say that there is a order management process. For example, you order it from Amazon, and let's say that you are trying to buy a shoe from let's say that you are trying to buy a shoe from Amazon, and sorry, yeah. Let's say that you are trying to buy something from Amazon, and the customer wants to reduce the total time taken from Amazon to the customer delivery. Let's say that is a problem which they are facing, and Amazon team wants me, let's say as a consultant or as a business analyst, to analyze my whole process and tell me where are the process gaps in the overall scenario, so that a solution can be developed. So in this way, I might not have a complete team to work with. I might not have a complete team to work with. I will be working majority of the times on my own, using different process analysis platforms. Like not sure many of you might have, a couple of you might have heard about process mining, task mining, and different scenarios. So you need to learn different platforms to deliver on the solutions on an individual contributor basis. So majority of the folks who are little experienced enter into the second scenario, and people who have, let's say, 1 year or 1 year sort of an experience mostly go into scenario number 1. So that was the thing which I wanted to tell, that the story doesn't end at just the requirement gathering part. And there are a couple of more questions which I'm unable to see. I don't know why I'm unable to see the chat. Anushka, if you can just tell me a couple of questions. I'm unable to see chat due to some issue.
Okay, I'll send you questions on your WhatsApp.
Sorry?
I'll send you the questions on your WhatsApp.
Your voice is breaking. I'm not sure why. Is it something at my end or? Okay, how is requirement? Okay, got it. So yeah. So requirement gathering, let me give you a brief about how is requirement gathering. Hello, was there a sound in between? Yeah, Santosh, you're absolutely right. We'll be touching up the. Yeah, let me just proceed with some other slides as well, and then we'll cover these points. All your questions will be answered at the later stage, but let me cover that. People, like there are a couple of folks who are asking that on a skill development basis, you need to, like, some of the times they are called as data analysts. So industry calls all the business analysts, like business analysts are also called in the industries as different in way of different names, which are currently which currently you can see on my screen. Like majority of the times they are called as data analyst as well, enterprise analyst, process analyst, product manager. So some majority of the times the job descriptions are designed in such way that it is more relevant to the company rather than a specific role description. So if a company wants to call you, and if a company wants to call a business analyst as a person who should have Python coding experience, then the company will expect you to know Python. So it is decided by companies, and not by not what is written in books to really understand what is a BA. So it is purely dependent on the company. So let me just share three different examples of how different a job description might look like. If you can just see on my screen. So one of the job description which you see, so these are three job descriptions which are very different from what you normally see. Like one of the job description is predominantly talking about writing, doing data analysis and writing query in SQL, highly proficient in MS Excel, understand the pain points of the seller, and create a scalable solution. So I'll just give you a minute or two to just read these job descriptions, and just tell me that which of these job descriptions are coming from. So these are three descriptions which I have predominantly taken from McKinsey, Amazon, and TCS. And so please tell me in comment section that what do you feel that first one is from which company, second one is from which company, and third is from which company. If you can just quickly go through that. Yes, Ishan, I'll take your question. Okay, let me zoom my screen. Is it better now? Thank you. Okay, first is data analyst. Okay, let me know if I want to just scroll, if you're ready to scroll it down. First is belonging to Amazon. Great. Thank you. So we have first answer from Nagarjun, if I just read the name correctly. We have answer from Kaveri as well, Amazon, McKinsey, TCS. Okay. So this is the purpose why I'm sharing this is how diversified a job description would look like. That is the only purpose. So if you are preparing for a BA role, it shouldn't be like I will be preparing only XYZ thing and then I'll be getting a BA job in any company. Yeah, okay, okay. So not necessarily every time. So how system analyst is that example specifically? I took it from TCS job description, where job description for TCS role was more like understanding requirement and then moving towards helping in solution development. So not necessarily every time a system analyst will be same as BA, but it showcases that how different names are used for same role. So it might be very different for Accenture, but it is similar for TCS. So that's the story, and you can't just consider that every time a system analyst will be a business analyst. So you should not be just rejecting the role on the basis of name you have received, but read in detail about what is the expectation in that role. So we have a couple of answers. So let me just reveal. I hope anybody wants to read anything else from this side, or we are done. Just have a thumbs up in the chat so that I can check there and get a confirmation. Okay, Imran, thank you. Okay, Pritosh. Okay. So does this give you a clear picture of what actually I'm trying to convey? That your the job description can vary a lot. So it is not like it may not look like I'm looking for a Java. So this scenario may not be true for, let's say, a company is looking for a senior Java developer. Majority of the times high level requirement will be same, that you should know like JavaScript, you should have JavaScript set, and you should be you should have worked on XYZ projects in past, something of that sort. So there the requirements are pretty much similar to with like between companies. But for a BA centric role, it looks like, or it is based on what all job descriptions I have considered. It is looking like you can have a varied job description. So you shouldn't be like, if I want to prepare for a data analyst role or a business analyst role, so it depends on the job description. There was a question. So we'll be covering up on differences between data analyst and a business analyst as well as we subsequently move ahead. But there are some companies may have that difference, some companies may not have that difference. So, okay, the right answer for this is first job description is for data and business analyst. So that was the name written uh, in the Amazon job description. Second is for TCS, business analyst role for TCS, and third is named as management consultant McKinsey. So point which I was trying to prove is, again, the similar point is, you will have, meanwhile, industry also calls business analyst as different names. So many of the companies might call similar job description as product owner and similar job descriptions as data analyst. So really look at the JD to understand, and not really, if you're data analyst, you're not expected to do you're not expected to require like document requirements gathering and etc. It won't be like, you won't be expected to do that. So there is very slight like there are a lot of overlaps between these roles. So that is the story which I wanted to convey. I think like I have received uh, quite a many thumbs up in the chat section. So awesome. My purpose seems fulfilled there. I think I've already covered this slide. So let me take the question from Zishan. I see that the hand is up from quite some time. So Zishan, can you give your question in the chat? Then now we'll be moving towards the second section of yeah, we'll be moving towards, is Zishan there? He had his hand raised. So let me take upon his question first. Okay, I think yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it later. This is no problem at all. So let us derive on needed skills. Needed skills to crack into these roles. This top three keywords which you saw in the definition itself. So like discover, analyze, and recommend. So if we need to develop some skills there, so what are the three skills which you predominantly need? Is, let's say, sorry, just a minute. Yeah. So many, as many of you are here to understand and develop their skill sets to easily move into this role, and this is where you will understand also how a data analyst and a business analyst role might be little different, even though they are overlapping. So I'll be answering that question as well within this slide. And you might also see that sometimes a role is advertised as a BI developer, let's say a business intelligence developer or a data visualization expert. So this is where these three skills are needed. So when I say communication as the first skill, is majority of the times you might need to have some sort of a business understanding to talk in customer language. Let's say that customer is coming from finance background or banking background, then you shouldn't be sounding like very very different, so that customer feels that you are coming from a different background. So you should be able to talk in that same language. For example, if you are talking with a customer from oil and gas industry, you should know high level nuances from the oil and gas industry when you are applying for that specific role, because the interviewer, if you even though if you don't have that experience in that domain, let's say that you are a fresher, and a question which I have like got many times is, I'm a fresher, how can I develop a business understanding? So you can develop your business understanding. Just look at the company name where you are applying, and if that company falls under a specific domain, let's say that you are applying for a role of business analyst under for any banking company, or let's say for Amazon itself in the job description which we saw. So you should understand at high level how an e-commerce company operates. What are the major challenges? So you can, what are the major challenges an e-commerce company faces when you for improving anything, and then moving ahead, or doing some activities within the company. Yeah, I see one hand raised up. So yeah, any question you can type up in chat. Mayur, can you tell me your question, or what was your question? I think you're on. Your mic is mute. Not sure if you are able to type your question, but yeah, so at the end of the session we'll be parking up or taking up specifically only questions from you. So would request you to park your thoughts for a moment, because it may happen that in the later section of the presentation your question might be getting answered. So would request you to how we should approach a client requirement. Okay, noted. So we'll answer that. We will answer that at the end of the presentation, Mayur, for you. So let me first quickly cover upon these skill sets, because majority of the folks have joined to understand these skill sets, and where I do people need technical skill sets as well. So if first section I was talking about business understanding. So whenever you are applying to any company, let's say that you are applying to Amazon, and so first understand that what are the challenges which high level people in that company face, and the domain challenges. So just Google about the company, understand more, and then apply for the role. Because if you get an interview call, your interview will be definitely expecting some sort of a terminologies from you, so that you are clear with what the role is. And so business analysts are expected to drive some sort of an improvements. So if you don't understand the domain, the interviewer might feel that you don't understand how the story runs within the organization. So that sort of a business understanding is definitely needed. And if you want to transition yourself from, I see that there was one question which let me answer that one, because I'm getting an answer for that. So if you want to transition from, let's say, your bank to a business analyst role, so definitely, and how you can position your transition. Let me tell you that. So there are a lot of consulting companies who work with a lot of banks. For example, LTI Mindtree is a okay. Not really. It is not compulsory to learn both. So if you want to transition yourself from a banking role, banking role to a consulting role or a business analyst role. So there are a lot of service or organizations, service or consulting companies who work with a lot of banks acting as their consulting partner. Since you have that domain experience, you have that banking on ground experience, you can act as a good consultant there to improvise the processes for their customers. Like, for example, if let's say LTI Mindtree is working for, let's say, HDFC Bank as a consultant. So you will be placing yourself that since I know the domain well, I can be a good business analyst slash consultant for this specific role. So not necessarily that if you have banking experience and if you do not have that IT experience in place, let's say that you are coming from different background. So you shouldn't be assuming that you are not fit for the any IT company role. So these IT companies are acting as consulting organizations for big customers, and those customers can be from any domain, let's say banking, oil and gas, high tech, media and entertainment. So if you have a domain centric experience, these kind of companies struggle to get people like you. So you can just mold your resume in a BA flavor and use all your same job description, same your roles and responsibilities to showcase that you can be a good BA for that specific organization. I hope that this gives a clarity on how why domain transition and how that can be done. So I'm just trying to stitch a story about on the limited chat which I saw. I can definitely take that up in detail in next section. So second question which many of you are asking is predominantly revolving around a lot of companies ask for Python experience. If I go go to business analyst. So this is again, and this predominantly happens with most probably like e-commerce companies like Amazon. They ask for Python experience. I myself have given Amazon interview for a BA role, and they literally grilled me on the Python part, because that company itself demanded that experience. So not all the companies are expecting you to have Python experience, but uh, yeah, definitely. Okay. So SQL, I do get that point. So so not all the companies are demanding that Python and R experience, but majority of the companies, if you are starting new, I would request first focus on advanced Excel skills. That your 90% of your data analysis will be covered in Excel if you have developed the skill set. So people who are freshers and are willing to develop that data analysis skills, the number one thing which I would have been doing if I would have been in your place is develop Microsoft Excel skills. And where other skill sets come into picture is SQL, Python, and R. Those sort of skill sets come into picture when the data size is huge. And you might know that Excel has its own limitation. If the data size is huge, the query, the problems which you run on Excel might be little time consuming. So that is where SQL will come into picture. SQL as a query language will come into picture to understand more about. So when I say SQL, majority of the roles are predominantly do cover basic SQL level. For example, like select from where, group by where clause, those sort of things. If you are able to do, and if you are able to write queries, like, so this is more for people who are who have SQL experience, so who are able to write group by queries, nested queries. I think that level of experience is enough if you consider SQL background for any BA centric role. And this is coming over and apart from Microsoft Excel. Let's say it is primarily assumed in any company that you have advanced Excel skill sets. So you can churn out data in Excel, because a majority of the decisions which you will be taking will be based on Excel analysis only. Even if they have written SQL in their job description, trust me, majority of the times the interview will be asking you questions in Excel, and then the second focus will be SQL. If you do not have Python experience, then just tell that I do not have Python experience, and you can tell that I'm willing to learn Python on the role. But yeah, so Microsoft SQL and SQL will be resolving your 90 to 95% of all the queries. Yeah. So what are the important topics, as in how much Python one need to know if you join? Okay, Python is also very useful. So if you are joining a company as a fresher, first, as I did mention, is focus on Microsoft Excel, because Excel and SQL also I did mention that focus on. So I'll be giving you a site where you'll be getting basic SQL things, how you should write a query, and sorry. What about VBA in Excel? How much important? VBA again, I'll be taking that as a second level thing. So not necessarily, not very important. So not needed. If you are good in like advanced Excel, as in applying formulas where it is necessary. So when I say formulas, I start from VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, and those sort of formulas to do basic data crunching in Excel. So that is where I'm predominantly referring to, not exactly referring to macros and VBA development. If the role demands that, it will be specifically mentioned in the JD. So if the role is predominantly mentioned, I can suggest some free courses. So I can suggest a free platform where you can learn everything, every basic entity about SQL. So when we proceed there, we'll be proceeding towards how you can develop individual skill sets, and what are steps you can follow there. So this is predominantly about data analysis, and also I read a query that Python is also very huge, and so let me be very frank here. I have personally not worked in Python a lot, and so I have worked only at a brief level to analyze correlation between multiple data sets using Python R, and analyze those covariance, correlation, and R factors. So not necessarily every. I would say only 10% of the total, 10 to 12% of total business analyst role are demanding Python as an expertise. So again, if I want to target, as I'm starting fresh and I want to target a BA as a whole division, I will be targeting Microsoft Excel and SQL if I'm starting from scratch. If you have some Python skills in place already handy, then focus on nourishing that as a and then focus on developing that Python skills separately. So that would be that my takeaway there. And you can also add your view in the comment section, which I can subsequently take. Also for data visualization, I heard that I just read that Tableau and Power BI both are necessary or not. So both are not necessary. So if you have knowledge of just one platform, one data visualization platform, that will be definitely more than enough for any company, because if you have Tableau certification, company will assume that you can learn Power BI. What are the important topics in Excel? Yeah, so I'll be sharing a channel with you where you can learn all these basic SQL, Excel queries as well. So data visualization part, not necessarily both the platforms which you should know. It is just an example. Majority of the roles demand Power BI as an option. If I want to select one between the two and I'm starting from scratch, I'll go with Microsoft Power BI instead of Tableau. But if let's say that role is for Power BI and you have Tableau certification in place, that company will not take a call, that they will reject you. So since you have both the platforms actually compete with each other in terms of market share. So if you know one, so the company will assume that you can definitely work upon the other platform. So not necessarily both are needed. And there are multiple platforms which enable business analysts to work efficiently with these skill sets. Now, for communication, let's say that, so the communication is again a very broad skill. Now, majority of the times, what I do as a communicator is, which is not portrayed most of the times, is I make PowerPoint presentations for customers to tell my side of story and what I have understood about your problem. So people always focus, what I've seen from my experience is people focus on SQL side of things, data side of things. But when it comes to communication is of two types. First is, let's say that I want to verbally communicate you something, or I want to tell my story in a PowerPoint. And on, like, whenever you get into that role, majority of the times you will be responsible to make PowerPoint presentations and and tell your pointers there. So if your PowerPoint presentations are engaging, it will help you in telling your story in a very good format, in a very understandable format. And this skill is often underrated in the market, and it is not portrayed that you should know how to make good PowerPoint presentations. And majority of the times people focus just on developing the technical part, but they miss out on that section where it is of most value to the customer. So if I tell you that, you'll be shocked to know 65 to 70% of the time in my role, whenever I started my journey as well, also in my current role, 50% of the time I'm building up some sort of a PowerPoint presentation with the data which I've received in from multiple platforms or some of the other sources. I am trying to tell a story in a presentation. So I see that lot of questions were focused towards SQL, Excel, but very less questions are focused towards how to build a good PowerPoint presentation. How can I tell my story better? So this is the point which is, like, majority of the times it is missed by people who are intending to grow in this role, even though this pointer will not be mentioned in the job description that you should have good presentation skills. So majority of the time it is not mentioned there, but it is assumed that you have this skill, and this is where people lack. So and in majority of the interviews as well, you will see that video resume sort of a thing, or a PowerPoint resume version will be needed for you to get into or get shortlisted for the interview. So this is also one of the round where the company tests you on your presentation skills, how you can develop that. Kindly share what to learn. Okay, take it. Yeah, I'll be sharing an assignment. So okay, let me be very frank here. Yeah, let me first share how you can develop these skills. So communication skills is number one thing which I was talking about, is So how many of you are aware of a platform or an application called FinShots? If you can just raise your hand in the chat. Awesome, awesome. Okay. Any more people who are aware of a platform called FinShots? Of what kind of stories do they write for retail banking profession? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. I covered that answer like 10 minutes before. So let's catch up at the end of the session for the same. Yeah, I see a couple of hands who are aware of about it. So a lot of times we so how to develop your business understanding and communication skills. So predominantly what is being useful for me, I'm sharing that with you. That I am a frequent reader of this particular application. Yes, FinShots is basically a got it. Let me. Yes, FinShots is basically a newsletter. So again, so this is a very yeah, good answer. No problem. But what do they actually cover? Is how consultants and business analysts communicate their problem to a wider audience in a simplified format. So they do cover that. And like recently, you might have seen that India found a lot of lithium deposits in Jammu and Kashmir. So LinkedIn newsletter related to finance. Okay, okay. So a lot of lithium deposits were found. So majority. So how would I think if I got that news? Is what is the benefit of getting lithium? So many lithium deposits there. So thinking in that direction, and by reading these newsletters, you tend to understand a simplified format of how you will be communicating your thought. So we should not consume information in the way as we receive. Normally while normally while scrolling different application, let's say that you are scrolling Instagram and you find that lithium deposits are found in one part of the country. So your thought process should be like, what is the benefit of this? Then after finding it, what are we trying to do, where it is beneficial, for which sector it is beneficial, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'll be sharing the link for this application. It is there in the PowerPoint, so definitely that link will be shared. And I would definitely suggest that you should have this application in your mobile phone. And if you spend like your morning 30 minutes to read articles from this application, trust me that your business understanding and your domain understanding will be developed drastically. And the points in which they normally write, so these are IAM folks coming from like most prestigious college in the country. I'm Ahmedabad, I'm Lucknow. And they write in a structured format so that people like us who don't have that enough business understanding or domain understanding will understand those nuances in a simplified format. For example, lithium, can India become a lithium superpower? That is one of the articles which I read. And we see that a lot of mergers and acquisitions are coming are taking place. So and recently, I'm not sure whether you know, but LTI got merged with Mindtree. First of all, LTI got merged with Mindtree, and now they are called as LTI Mindtree as an organization. So our thought process should be more towards, if let's say that I'm a fresher or an experienced professional, my thought process should be focusing more on why this merger is happening. And then I'll be Googling myself to understand more about what is the thought process, why this is happening, what are the challenges they were facing initially to, and this for XYZ thing forced them to do that merger. So developing this thought process will help you in gaining more understanding and then communicating your idea to the interviewer in a simplified format. So these applications, they don't directly help you in your interview preparation, but indirectly they help you in structuring your thought in a simplified format. So definitely that link is there. And even if you Google FinShots, it is quite popular. You will get that as the number one link there. And whenever, so second thing which I do to develop my communication skills is, why whenever I'm browsing on LinkedIn, so what I do is, and at the start of the day, I keep liking all those articles which I would genuinely would like to read later. Because if I like, then some sort of that. If I go into my history or my activity history, I can see that there were three to four articles which I have liked today, and later on, what I'll do is I'll read on them and then comment the summary of that article. So, and when you summarize anything in let's say that article was of 6 pages, and you summarize that thing in let's say like 4 to 5 sentences, that will help you in developing your thought process from communicating a big story into a summary format. Majority of the times, what I've experienced is customers and executives will expect business analysts to give them a concise story. So there won't be any tutorial or a course sort of a thing for this, because there can be a couple of courses, but I have taken them, and I have not seen them helping me as a like to concise my story. So this can be done only by practice. And to develop your business acumen, what I would say is refer to applications like FinShots. And if you are, let's say, more at an advanced level, so you can filter out on domain within FinShots as well, if I recall it correctly. So if you want to, let's say that you shortlist one sector. For example, currently a very hot sector in India is banking and finance, where let's say that we all might have our bank accounts. And so that thing, if you want to know more about banking, read on a couple of articles within FinShots, and they will explain you what is currently happening in the banking sector, what are the problems they are facing, and then you will understand more. So as a fresher, I would definitely suggest to have these applications in place. And second thing, as a fresher, if you are not browsing a lot on LinkedIn, whenever you get any thought, just pen it down and ask why to it. You will subsequently develop that business acumen to talk in front of your interviewer. So that is number one thing which definitely I would recommend to any fresher. And if I want to restart my journey, I'll be that one person who will be covering applications like FinShots in my mobile phone. So yeah, so a couple of other questions. Let me just quickly cover up as we have time as well. Yeah, how to develop your data analysis skills. So there were questions related to how can I develop SQL skills, and some free courses and platforms where where you can develop your skills. So first, what I'll recommend is test the waters. Not directly go for the course, or for a paid course, or let's say a free course. So you have how many of you have heard of Chandu as a YouTube channel on for teaching you Power BI and Excel? So that is one of the best channels. Who the person will teach you Excel skills and SQL skills from scratch, and that person can act as a game changer in your journey. So instead of focusing directly on multiple courses and just branding yourself that I have done SQL course from Harvard, Stanford, and those sort of things. Yeah, there might be other platforms as well. So yeah, I predominantly I'm telling you by my experience. So I have learned a lot from this person, and the person will tell you the story in a very simplified format from scratch. If you don't know, let's say that you don't know anything about Excel, so that person will help you to understand from a BA centric perspective. So not necessarily advanced SQL will be needed for a BA role. So what are those things which will be needed for you to go into BA role, and what sort of Power BI, how much Power BI you should be knowing to appear for any interview. Can you repeat again about that person? So I have the channel link here, and definitely the presentation will be shared at the end. So you'll be getting the link. Does storytelling play a vital role? Storytelling plays a very vital role in BA centric role. So if you are working as an individual contributor, so in these two scenarios, let's say that you are working as an individual contributor in scenario 2, where a business analyst is delivering a solution, so there your storytelling will only come into picture, and you will be that person who will be leading up that project. So when I say story, it is predominantly storytelling from your data perspective. You should be able to connect everything from the data and then move ahead. What to learn with respect to SQL and SQL? Yeah. So there are courses on chandu.org, Chandu YouTube channel. So you should. So I've just given the channel link there, and when you go to that channel, and I'm keep on hearing this. I just missed out. So you just kept on hearing this storytelling. Okay, let me tell you. And how many of you follow Akshat Srivastav as well from on YouTube? He's a awesome. Okay, that he will be the person. Like if I want to recommend anybody who's a fresher and wants to start from scratch, so I'll recommend that person to. He's a very like advanced storyteller. Now, when I say story, I don't mean. So you should be covering up skills like you should be covering up your pointers with data. So storytelling is predominantly revolving around backing up what you tell. Hence, communication, data analysis, and data visualization combined all together will help you in telling up your story. Let's say that your story, I'm telling us, let me tell you by an example. I think that will help you in clarifying your point. So recently, I was working with one of our industrial manufacturing customers who wanted to understand what are the delays which are happening in my process on an overall basis. So that person wanted to understand that. And if I just tell that majority of your delays are in number one, number two, number three position, the person might not understand. If I just back that up with some sort of charts and visualization and tell that here it is, like if you just and prioritize those delays with business case. For example, there is delay in point number one, point number two, point number three, but majority of your delays are in point number two, which is impacting your business for XYZ dollars. So yeah, Akshay Srivastava provide in-depth business knowledge. Yeah, awesome. Definitely, that person definitely does that. So is that storytelling question clear to you? I just read quickly that question, and so there are so many chats flowing up, so that question might just flows away quickly. So did you get that fair understanding of what storytelling I'm actually referring to? Just whosoever had asked it. Thanks, Ishika, for confirming. Okay. Yeah, and when you practice these from this channel and this W3 schools, so link for SQL, when you go on these links and practice for SQL, basic SQL queries, it will be acting as a good starting point for you to start with data analysis and data visualization. So majority of your companies are asking for MBA experience. Okay. Yes, I agree with you. Majority of the companies do ask that MBA centric experience, and I'll tell you why they ask. Because there is an assumption in the market that MBAs are better in communicating. So again, no offense to any particular graduation or community or anybody. So that is an assumption. If you that MBAs are predominantly better, have better understanding of the business, and they are good communicators. So this is the notion which industry assumes, and hence they, while writing the job description itself, they will tell that MBA experience is preferred. In couple of them, they will write preferred. In couple of them, they will write MBA mandatory. So when it is mentioned, if it is mandatory, I think then you will be needing that MBA background. So a couple of companies have those policies in place that BA should be an MBA, but there are many companies who don't have such policies in place. Yeah. Okay. Let me answer that for now. So there are many companies who write that MBA experience is preferred, not necessarily mandatory. If you can prove that in your interview that you have that good business understanding, you have good presentation skills, and you can use platforms for data visualization, then I don't find any reason that the company will reject you on the basis of just on your degree. Yeah, I'll give my thoughts on guesstimate questions. Just hold on. Let me. So that is something which will be covered. Will cover in next section. So does that thing get answers? MBA grad brings communication. Yeah, definitely. So that somebody has summarized that. So MBA grad will bring domain understanding, some sort of a domain understanding, business understanding. But if you are a fresher, let's say that you don't want to do an MBA. Let us consider that worst scenario that you don't want to do an MBA. and still you want to develop that business understanding, what would be those platforms to develop your thought? So again, applications, the applications which I told, and developing a business understanding is not a one day thing. Let me be very direct here. It is everything which I am currently talking about is a process, and so you don't really understand and develop that banking experience in one day out of the blue, and you tell that I'm a banking expert, and even after reading like couple of articles in place, then you can't say that I know that specific sector well. But when if the company is from banking domain, and if you understand what are the recent advancements or changes or challenges which are faced in the banking sector, the person might understand that you have that fair understanding of how a bank runs, what are the challenges do they face. Not near really an in-depth understanding will be expected, but a high-level understanding will be expected, and that high-level understanding you can get from applications like FinShots. So that is the whole narrative which I'm trying to drive here. And if you have that MBA experience, go, no problem, go with it. If you don't have that MBA experience, let's say that you are currently doing your engineering or doing your graduation, and you want to develop your acumen, then videos from Akshat Srivastav and applications like FinShots will be super helpful for you to. They should be on your number one priority to understand or develop business acumen. Because a lot of times when even I take interviews, people are focused on writing SQL queries. But if I say that what is the impact of your project, they will be unable to quantify that impact or connect that how it added value to the business. They will be unable to tell that. And that is where again a lot of folks are rejected from these interviews. So I'm trying to just share my interviewing experience as well when I interview a lot of candidates. So that is the thing which I have noticed. And from my study, what I've understood is if you want to learn any specific software apart from data visualization and data analysis platforms, if you want to learn any software, I would prefer one of the process modeling platforms to be there in your to be there in your kitty. Let's say that, so where this process modeling, yeah, I'll be sharing this presentation, no problem. So where this process modeling platform will come into picture is if you want to just so a lot of job descriptions will have that do that gap analysis, or do that. For example, there is a process which is having activity A, B, C, D in their overall flow. Majority of the times, a BA will be expected to draw out that process on a specific platform. So a specific platform can be Microsoft Visio, or let's say IBM BlueWorks. Microsoft Visio, you can learn it for free online. And if you put up that skill set that I have learned Microsoft Visio, and this I've just understood after reading more than 200 plus job descriptions. This is one of the very common things which I have come across after communication, data analysis, and data visualization. So this is one of the platform which is definitely needed there. And I specifically work with a lot of process improvement platforms. And if you have any queries to or any queries if you have in learning process improvement platforms or process documentation platforms, you can reach me out personally. Then how to quantify impact of it? Okay, got it. We'll talk about a framework about it. Wait. I want to quickly cover up on one more section. So let's say that you are, so now it is more for the people who are into the session now. Let's say that you are an interviewer, and so let's say that you are taking an interview from last 30 minutes. What will you like listening to? Will you like listening to a complete story? Let's say that I'm telling you some sort of, let's say that I'm talking to you from last 1 hour, 13 minutes or so. Everything which I'm telling to you is backed up with some data or some experience. So everything which I want to tell you is in format of a story that if you do this, you will get this sort of an impact. And hence I see that close to 80 to 90% of the folks are still in the session, so that I'm successful at some extent to get your attention for this long. So there is something which I'm doing differently. And this is, so what will you like listening to? Which will you like listening to, that a complete monologue sort of a thing, or will you like listening to a story which is having a good climax? So I would like to get your view in the comment. And majority of the times you will be listening to folks who talk about that. You tell about your story, what is your job experience, and a good storytelling technique. Yeah. So I'll be sharing that storytelling framework with you. So and there were questions on how I can tell my story, and what is this storytelling all about. So let me give you that framework. And majority of the folks are, they do fail in telling up a story. So let me give you that example. And I received a couple of answers in the chat. So take 2 minutes and read section number 1 and section number 2. You will get that difference of what storytelling actually is, and which one did you like section 1 or section 2. I'll give you a minute for that. Just read. Yeah, a lot of people are telling that they like the second one. Okay, great, great. And I'll tell you that this is taken from a live example from my own interviewing experience. So that interview was recorded, and there was one person who has given. So I was taking 2 interviews that day. One person has given me answer number 1, and second person has given me answer number 2. So this is word to word what they have answered. So I have very well understood that there is something different in story, in the second story versus in the first story. So and I see that a lot of folks told that they like the second thing, and but I'm telling you that majority of the folks use first style as their first section in their interviews. So what is the difference which you found? If you can just like tell in 1-2 point in the chat. More descriptive, okay. Numbers are justifying, okay. Second is more specific, okay. Detailed explanation, structure for that, some point wise, more clear, awesome. Okay, more clear is good. Gives a holistic approach, awesome. More engaging with data, yes, I was expecting on this point. Thank you, Abhay. Detailed information, awesome. So we know that we will like to uh, get, or when we are on the interviewing side, we are taking that interview, we will like to listen of answer of type 2. But when we give that interview, when we give our interviews, we talk about type 1 in interview pressure, or acting that nervousness as one of the pointers. So we tend to talk in scenario 1 format rather than scenario 2 format. Somehow or the other, we are liking scenario 2 format. What if I tell you that there is a framework in place which can help you in telling you your story in exactly same section 2 format, and you won't even forget that that is a very simple storytelling framework. So will that be helpful for you? Just show your approval in the comment section, and then I'll move ahead. Awesome. So have you ever heard about any framework which helps you in telling your story before? Have you heard about any framework which, let's say that you go in an interview and sorry, yeah, SWAT, okay, okay, I am getting some answers which are which are the kind of answers where what I was predominantly looking at. Okay, stock analysis. Okay, okay, awesome, awesome. So majority of you have got it. Okay, but I'll say when we are giving answer to this question, we know this framework. But I'll tell you that when we are giving answer to our question, we don't use this framework. We tend to forget how to use this framework. We know this framework. Majority of us know. And let me be very frank. Majority of the things which I have told today, let's say that 40 to 50% of the things you might have read, heard somewhere on online platforms because knowledge is so freely available. But majority of the times we are struggling to get validation to our thoughts. That somebody can somebody validate that I know this, is this right? I know XYZ pointer, is this correct? Do I have everything in a structured format which can help me to move in the right direction? I know that while scrolling up a lot of Instagram stories, there are people who talk about resume upbuilding and things like how to apply on LinkedIn, etc. We tend to save everything on our mobile phone, but but do we have those things handy when we are actually performing that process? I have personally faced this problem that I have so many things online, but while I'm applying for a job description or for any role, I don't have these things handy, and I again move in a very haphazard way. But somehow or the other, I have seen that content. And same story works with these frameworks as well. We tend to forget while we are talking in interview, and hence one of our like one assignment which we will be talking today. So let me quickly cover up on this star framework, and then we'll take up on some other questions. We still have 10 minutes, and I can extend for some time also going ahead if you have any queries. So first is situation. Describe the complete situation. Describe what was your task and overall objective, and you will be understanding it better when we tell when we talk about it with an example. And then you share your actions on, let's say that your objective was to improve something, what all actions you took to overcome that objective, and then the predominantly the results you drive from your star experience, from your job experience. Now I would suggest read pointer number 2 again. You will understand that first the person is describing that situation, describing that story plot, that there were a lot of issues. Okay, कुछ तो problem था process में, तब जाके मुझे वो लोग ने picture में लेके आए. So there were a lot of issues. Okay, the interviewer understands that the background is being set up, that they were not able to create sales on time and due to XYZ problem. I was brought into this project to find gaps, setting up that high level objective, that my objective or my team's perspective to bring me into the picture was to find these gaps. And then what I did is within the process I used advanced Excel techniques to identify gaps. That was the action which I took to overcome some section of the objective. And then what happened in last May, I did XYZ things, and that found 20% of potential reduction in overall time. So my actions led to some sort of an improvement because this was the overall context. And now when you look at the STAR framework, the person had set up the situation. The person told that the overall task was this. Overall task was to overall task was to find the gaps. What actions I took to find the gaps using advanced Excel techniques of your process, and then that resulted in 20% potential reduction in overall time. So use this framework to tell your like behavioral story also. You can use. So there is an example there for behavioral as well, for project related or some job related experience. And if I tell you about my experience in STAR format, so when I was working with General Electric as a business analyst intern there. So I'll tell you my experience, how I answer that question. Okay, let's say that the person is asking me, tell me more about your internship at General Electric. So how I'll take that question is, thanks for asking me about my experience in General Electric. The situation when I joined GE Transmission and Distribution Office plant in Chennai, they were facing a lot of delays in their procurement process, setting up the context situation. I was brought into the picture to understand where are the delays between the process, connect with people who are at ground level, and then understand what challenges they are facing due to which these delays are happening, setting up the high level objective. So what I did is I just gathered data from multiple sources to quantify my hypothesis that delays are happening at XYZ levels, and approvals, like your approval number 1 is taking time or approval number 2 is taking time, something of that sort. I gathered data. Again, actions I took to communicate that or connect to that high level objective, which helped the organization in reducing that, where I suggested measures so that they can reduce the delay by 10%, giving a good climax, giving a good situation that I went there, they were facing this problem, high level task, and the actions I took. You can use this framework anytime while describing any of your situation in your role. Rather than being haphazard in your approach, rather than being more like pointer number 1, you can use this approach to be more structured. So this was, a majority of you might know this already, I'm pretty sure. But what we will be, so as an assignment, let's practice few things. So this is all I wanted to cover today. So let us practice few things, and we still have 5 minutes. So let us practice few things which I'll be reviewing personally. Since you know, and at the end of the session now, since we know that, let's say that you have some sort of experience in your college project or your company related project, or some of the things like behavioral thing you want to describe about yourself, always your STAR framework will help you. So write your job description, project experience in a STAR format and share it with me. Which will look like more like section number 2, which will more look like section number 2. And so first, are you clear with the STAR approach? Let me just can you just raise your hand in the comment section? Just give a thumbs up so that I understand that you are clear with the approach, and then the assignment will be focused on that. And trust me, when you write this, more you write about your experience, more you will be moving towards, or chances of you talking the same language in your interview increases. So what I'll be suggesting or recommending is this assignment: write about your job and project experience in a STAR format and share it with me. I see that Preplace team, Anushka, have created that WhatsApp group. You can either reach me out personally, or you can share your job experience in STAR format there. I can give that combined feed. I can give that feedback to you in the group or in person, anything. Because if I give that feedback in group, there are others who also might get that help. That this could have been improved in this way. So that is the number one thing which I would like you to do. And shortlist anyone. So second thing which I would like you all to do is more on the grounds of developing your communication skill. So shortlist any one article from FinShots. Link is there in the presentation, which I'll be definitely sharing. You post the post presentation. So shortlist any one article and communicate that story in a one slider. Slider as in, I mean to say, PowerPoint format. How we will talk about that story? Assume that you are telling this story to your interviewer, and think about it in that way, that somebody who is taking your interview will be reviewing this assignment, and see how sometimes how challenging it gets to write a 5-6 minute story in a one slider. So you will understand, and a lot of your questions were focused on the data analysis part, but now your questions will be focused more on the communication part once you do this assignment. The assignment which I'm talking at the second level. First is still, I would say, describe your project experience and star in star format. And if you have, I see that there are a lot of questions which I have not taken during the session. You can book a free trial session with me on the link. I think Preplace team has given that chat session booking a link to of a free trial, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Again, you'll be getting the link in the PowerPoint presentation as well. And now let me focus on move. Let me move towards the giveaway. One second. One second. I'm just trying to bring that up. Wait. Yeah. So there are a lot of points which I did not cover, and those points were more like how should I apply for the role, and if I don't have LinkedIn presence, what should I do? So it is difficult to cover on all of these pointers in one session. So what I've done for you is I've worked with a couple of more mentees with Preplace. So to help everybody, so since you are at the end of the session now, and if you have attended and understood these pointers, there is some more thing which can help you. So let me share what all things are there. So job application process. How would a job application process would look like? And for those who don't actively write and have a good LinkedIn presence, so what a step-by-step approach I've written. What sort of messages you should send to those recruiters? Use this template. So everything is there in a step-by-step format, and this is not necessarily built up everything on my experience. So this document is prepared on basis of my experience and referring to couple of influencers on LinkedIn and Instagram stories. So this is a combined document format. So this will help you in putting everything in one place. And so this is again built up from a fresher perspective, like how to build connections, how to shortlist companies, and then how to reach out to recruiter. Everything you will find up in this document, and how a generic job description for a business analyst looks like, how a specific job description for a business analyst look like. Many of you want to, yeah, I'll be sharing this document. No, don't worry. And again, the one thing which I did like a couple of days back, after going through 200 plus job descriptions. So what were the key terms? What were the tools and platforms which will be needed? And what were the tools and platforms, and what are the certifications which are needed? So I do know that couple of roles demand prior experience. So if the role demands that prior experience, again, we can't change that narrative. But what we can definitely do is start working on these terms beforehand. That try gaining knowledge of these terminologies so that you can put up these terms in your resume, and you can relate your experience and then use these terminologies to get shortlisted faster. And somebody asked me how can we get shortlisted faster? Again, so this is based on 200 job descriptions for business analysts. If you have these terms in your resume, higher chances that you will get shortlisted. And this is not again based on experience or something of that sort. So this is purely data analysis of job descriptions which have just squeezed up in like 7 to 8 rows for you. Majority of the times people ask, what are the tools and platforms should I consider? What are the certifications, etc. And people give vague answers for it. But what I have done is I have just concised everything. Can you share? Yes, everything will be shared. Don't worry. So presentation and these links and this document, everything will be shared. So don't worry about it. So certifications, etc. So these questions are answered from these JDs as well. So not a generic answer that you do business analyst or BABOK certification or something of that sort. So not majority of the role demand BABOK certification. That is getting proved from this analysis. So If you want to understand that in detail, you can do it. But I would say majority of them are demanding Scrum Master as a certification. So that is the thing which so these things are not covered in the presentation. It was literally difficult for me to squeeze up everything in 90 minutes. So what I did is, whatever things I have missed out, I have prepared that complete roadmap in this document. And then, yeah, okay, guesstimates. Okay, I'll cover your point. I think since only you have Himanshu, if you have that question, so can we connect on that question in WhatsApp, if you don't mind? I think you have that question, so let me cover it personally for you. Okay, Himanshu. So you seem to be struggling for that one from more time. So okay, let me. So we are already on top of session. So pre-place team, anything if you wish to add on, we are already 4 minutes away. We can take more questions if pre-place team has anything to add on. Anushka,
Prashant,
I'm actually
we are good to
done
go.
from my side.
And if if anybody has more questions, they can join the WhatsApp group, and we can do the further Q&A session there.
Yes, we can do a follow-up session there. How to overcome career gaps? Okay, we can take up that. So what we can do is, I think we have lot many questions which went unanswered, Anushka. So what I see is, can we have a Q&A sort of a session where more things to be told upon, where these questions will be predominantly answers without any presentation or those things, but it will be a session where people have questions, and those questions will be discussed. Can we
Uh,
plan up that?
yes, definitely, Prashant. So if people are wanting a Q&A session, we can conduct a Q&A session in the coming weeks, any day.
Yeah. So people who are up for Q&A session can just give a thumbs up in the comment section, so that I can see that. Uh, uh, okay, I see that. Okay. So there are a lot of questions. I know that guesstimate, case studies, and a lot more things which I also want to share. I'm all open to share lot many things. So even let me be very frank. Even I'm a little tired now, so I might not give justice to those questions. And if I answer it now, but definitely the energy level will be high if I just get a breather break in between and move ahead.
Okay, Prashant. So what I'll do is I'll plan for a Q&A session, and I'll update the link on the WhatsApp channel. So if anyone is interested for the Q&A session, you guys can register through the link on WhatsApp community.
Yeah, definitely, and would like to know about the feedback as well, from people who have found this value adding. I have tried to give all my experience. Not everything is possible to convey in a 90-minute session, but I've tried my level best to, whatever things I've missed, I've tried my level best to concise this in the document, and that will act as a giveaway. So would like to know your feedback in the WhatsApp group or in person. Just feel free to reach me out. Anything which you, and open for improvement feedbacks as well. So not necessarily that you can you should talk about that session was good. So where I could have improved, I would also love to know that. And there are folks who are more experienced than me who have joined the session. Feel free to correct me. I'm willing to learn from you and move ahead. So we are acting as a community. We will collectively grow, and a lot of things to again learn from. When I interact with a lot of freshers, I get to learn from your challenges as well. So it is not like I'm only sharing and it is a monologue thing. I get to learn from you as well. So feel free to correct me as well. So I would say that one thing. And on a scale of 1 to 10, if I just quickly take upon that feedback, where would you stand? How would you rate that this session on a scale of 1 to 10? Just tell that number in the comment section so that I get a quantified number. Awesome. Okay. I know that a lot of your queries might not be answered. So yeah. Awesome. I see a lot of good numbers. Thank you. Thank you so very much. I write a lot of articles on business understanding on my LinkedIn on a frequent basis. So you can follow me there and we'll stay connected. Thank you, Preplace team, for this wonderful platform. I see that a lot of people are getting benefited, and these resources I'll share with Preplace team so that they have those your all your email IDs and your so I'll share everything in the WhatsApp group as well. So I'll coordinate with Preplace team and then subsequently share everything. Thank you, Preplace. Thank you, Anushka, for your wonderful support. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Prashant. I think so we can end the session here. It was a wonderful session, and yes, everyone will get the documents and assignments on the WhatsApp channel itself.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so very much.